Before I go into my answer, we should always point out I'm judging Golovkin by the extremely high standards he set.
Yeah.
And also on reflection, Munro Jr. is probably a better opponent than me giving him credit for. The thing is, the fight had a feeling it was similar in some respect to the Kovalev-Pascal fight. Pascal was having to use up a lot of energy to survive against Kovalev. Same for Munro. But I was quite disappointed against Golovkin. It's tempting to say, he knew he was going to win all along. I never felt like he wasn't in control of the fight, which ultimately, it was a 12-rounder. Golovkin's always going to be in control of almost any fight like that. But I found myself starting to think, does he need a rest? He's had this really hectic schedule, fighting 4 times a year, so he's fighting training camp. And I know he hasn't been fighting elite opponents. That's not his fault. I'm sure he would take those fights. Maybe he just need a month off. Maybe, he wasn't as fresh as he should have been for that fight. And I don't buy that he was just letting Munro go to try and make a Cotto or Alvarez fight more achievable for him.
Interesting. Those names, of course, Danny, were mentioned post-fight in his interview with Max Kellerman. There is a certain situation with the WBC that he should really be fighting next in line, shouldn't he, for that belt?
Yeah, I mean, they rarely have interim champions, yet he is one, so they appear to have made an exception for someone who's becoming a bigger and bigger attraction. However, is he going to fight Cotto, who's the WBC and the lineal champion, of course? They're both on HBO, so that makes it more likely to happen. They've both fought on HBO regularly, so hopefully they can get that together. But there's Saul Alvarez waiting for one or both in the wings also. And Cotto's obviously got the not inconsiderable matter of Daniel Gill before he can move on, so that's in June, so it would be an interesting fight. But
in an ideal world, either Cotto against Canelo happens and then maybe the winner meets Golovkin. Is that the ideal world? Do you see the practicalities of the sport allowing that?
My ideal world is Golovkin gets a short rest, if nothing else, and then fights the winner of the Dan fight. I think Lemoo's a really good, entertaining opponent for Golovkin, but I think Golovkin wins quite comfortably. In the meantime, Cotto fights Alvarez, but I'm not convinced that happens because I think Cotto wants a Mayweather fight, and I can see that happening. I don't see Cotto ever fighting Golovkin, even if he wins that. I've read quotes attributed to Freddie Roach in which he's not said he'll never fight Golovkin, but he said Cotto's a rich man, what does he need Golovkin for?
Yeah, if the Rock Nation Heyman thing can be worked out, I'm convinced in my mind, my devious mind, that Cotto Mayweather 2 happens.